when a human loves, or when a human is loved, it makes them a bad soldier. Love is like kryptonite. It disables aggressive behavior, it disables bloodlust, it cures mental illnesses like obsessive compulsive behavior. In the past, soldiers used to meet in a battlefield, and in times of ceasefire, they used to send prostitutes disguised as nurses to tend to the wounded to the other side. They would help them out, cook for them, sleep with them. This interaction would neutralize the other side. They would become passive, reducing their aggressivity and bloodlust, making them easy prey for the next attack. Maybe this is one of the many reasons women are not allowed in the battlefield or they're not allowed on boats. It distracts man. The limbic system and the prefrontal cortex have the responsibility to regulate emotions and behavior. It focuses on predicting consequences of one's actions, i.e., accountability. It focuses on impulse control, focuses on planning the future, focuses on coordination and adjusting behavior. Is what we call being conscious, is what we call having compassion and human decency. It comes from a well functioning limbic system and prefrontal cortex. But these systems can be hacked. You know, there's these stories about Rome and Greece, about weird behavior, that the soldiers used to have. They were encouraged to have relationships with their fellow soldiers. Well, this is what we hear, but I have heard online something else that is way more terrifying, and it has to do with the limbic system and the frontal cortex. If you expose children before puberty to scenes, to practices of sexual, content, you would be hacking the limbic system and the frontal cortex. These shouldn't be exposed to these types of things. So they will malfunction or become atrophied when the child reaches, um, adult age and they are ready to have sex and everything. They will be dysfunctional because they've been somehow traumatized since little by the act of making love. So this is what they used to do to soldiers from the cradle until they became adults. So they noticed that the soldiers that was traumatized using, these treatments, they would feel nothing regarding their body or the body of the adversary. It would make them, immune to pain, and they couldn't care uh, about decency. They were bloodlust, and they had no respect for their body or the bodies of the adversaries. They were killing machines, basically. And then you would think Is this true? Then, well, if this is true, then what's been going on in the West when they try to impose the same treatment with all these new policies around education, exposing early as possible to those crazy stories of those weird people. I mean, I can't even say the right words, but I think you understand what I'm saying. Weren't they doing the same thing, traumatizing the youth? I think scientifically, they have noticed that the limbic system becomes atrophied. It doesn't develop. So when you grow up, you're unable to control your behavior. No accountability, superficiality, I mean, look at people. Ever since, for instance, photograph was invented, I noticed people became more conscious about their physique, about their appearance, and they started, paying more attention to it, and which led to, I would say, an obsession, a narcissism. People became focused on the ego, and the ego, the physical part is part of the ego. They became obsessed over it, and you can literally see how people have changed since early, I don't know, early photographs until now. People changed a lot. Women, for instance, look more feminine and, more, I don't know, it's completely different. And men as well, completely different. And it has to do, I think, with with the limbic system and the prefrontal cortex, and the exposition as early as possible to suggestions that the magazines, the newspapers, the cinema, you know the idols, what the idols or fashion proposes. It makes people you know want to imitate, and one of the biggest targets is women, of course, and that's why I would say relationships have been decaying, and in these past decades. They don't even call it relationships; they call it situationships. I've heard women talking, and they've said, "I am 30, I am 40, and I never had a boyfriend." They've had many relations with men, but it was one night, type of thing, and they had access tons and tons of sex, but they never got a boyfriend. You see, they couldn't care less what they did to the body. I think this has to do with the exposition to this content from early age. Prepubescent children are already you know thinking about makeup and high heels and stuff like that. And now it's becoming even worse with telephones and the internet and stuff. And you see that they despise the body. They hack the body, like the trans formers. Those transformers, they have no respect for the body. They want to hack it. They want to change it. They want to paint it. They want to decorate it. The lack of respect for the psychophysical. you know it's your body, so take care of it. But they couldn't care less. They almost like soldiers of ancient Rome and ancient Greece. They couldn't care less if it gets damaged, destroyed, damaged, uglified. You know, some people inject things into the eyes. Other, hack the teeth, and it's really weird stuff and weird colors in the hair, and Really, really weird stuff. That's body dysmorphia. And I think it has to do with that. They were exposed too young to certain things that they shouldn't have. And their limbic system and frontal cortex is damaged, or it has malfunctioned, or is shrinked as, you know. So, anyway, these are just some thoughts. Tell me what you guys think. Have a nice day.